2025 was a great year for gaming, and 2026 is shaping up to be just as good, if not better. In this video, I highlighted games that I'm personally excited for, and games that I plan to review or cover at one point or another on this channel, so let's get right into it. Up first, we have Mortal Shell 2, the second game in a franchise that looks to be even more brutal than the first. The Souls-like genre has only gotten better as developers continue to refine and add new mechanics that we've never seen before, and in 2026 we have more than a few coming out that seem to push the genre even further, some of which will be on this very list. The first, Mortal Shell, did pretty well critically, scoring a 76 on Metacritic, but the game was fairly small in scope, very cryptic in its storytelling, and it didn't offer the same depth of customization that normal games in this genre do. Mortal Shell 2 looks to be addressing many of those concerns, and the trailer they've shown off so far just showcases a bunch of kill animations, so there's definitely a ton of those, but I'm really interested in seeing what else this game has to offer. Up next, we have Windblown. Windblown is an action roguelike coming from Motion Twin, the same studio known for the critically acclaimed Dead Cells. The game is already out in early access, but in 2025, I made a promise to myself and I just decided to stop buying games that are in early access, so I haven't gotten my hands on it yet, no matter how badly I want to. The gameplay, however, looks awesome, fast-paced, top-down perspective with an emphasis on dashes, free-flowing movement, and build creativity. The game has received a nice steady stream of updates since its early access launch, and in 2026 we should be getting a full 1.0 release, and that's when I will finally be getting my hands on it. Up next, we have Greedfall 2: The Dying World. This is the sequel to Greedfall from all the way back in 2019. The game itself is a complete revamp from the original gameplay style. From a party-based action RPG with dynamic and free-flowing combat similar to something like Dragon Age Inquisition to a real-time with pause approach. This switch-up has been highly controversial among fans of the game, and honestly, I have to agree. The game launched in early access last year, which in itself is surprising given how long it's been since the original game's release. I was hoping they would have improved on the existing combat, and in doing so, they could have really made an impact in the RPG scene. I'm not sure how the game will end up being once everything settles in place. I'm still gonna check it out regardless, but I still think it's a bit of a misstep from the studio going with this new gameplay style. But either way, I hope I get proven wrong. By the way, don't forget to share your list of anticipated games in the comments below, and maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Up next, we have Outward 2. If you've never played the original Outward, and you're even remotely interested in a survival RPG, then do yourself a favor and go and check it out right now. The first Outward was pretty rough around the edges. Gameplay, graphics, and animations were really nothing to write home about, but the premise of the game was awesome, and that in itself drew in tons of players. It was the type of game that didn't hold your hand. It set you out onto the world with a debt to pay off, and how you went about it was completely up to you. Outward 2 is shaping up to be something greater with a clear focus on an upgraded combat system, graphical fidelity, and more. The foundation was already there, and it looks like the developers are going all in with the second game. Up next, we have the Gothic Remake. Gothic 1 was a classic and is often brought up in the realm of obscure RPGs that really pushed the genre. It was difficult, it didn't hold your hand, and it was janky as hell. The remake looks to capture the essence of what made the first game so good over 20 years ago. An updated graphics engine, new combat, and a ton of different reworks that bring the game back to life. I'm excited for this one because it seems like the type of RPG that is right up my alley. There is a prologue demo available on Steam if you're interested in checking it out. Personally, I haven't played it yet. I'll just be waiting until the full release. Up next, we have Atomic Heart 2. Atomic Heart was a really solid game that I felt like punched above its weight in a few different ways. I absolutely loved the art style and the alternative take on history, but I didn't really expect a sequel. That being said, Atomic Heart 2 looks to be taking the foundation and expanding on it in numerous ways, creating a bigger and better game. The trailer we've seen so far shows so much, and a lot of it looks really good, and despite the first game only being like a 7 out of 10 in my opinion, it looks like Mundfish is really trying to take it up to the next level with the sequel. Up next, we have Lords of the Fallen 2. The first Lords of the Fallen game came out the gates pretty shaky. It was a solid Souls-like that really didn't do much special outside of its dual realm mechanic and unique art style. The combat was lackluster and everything felt pretty weightless, but the devs have updated the game so damn much that it's practically a new game these days. We really haven't been shown much at all for the sequel, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm personally looking forward to it. If the dev team can take the foundation built with the 2.0 release of the first game and expand on its build variety, improve on the level design, and make combat more impactful from the get-go, then Lords of the Fallen 2 can be one of the best Souls-likes to date. Let's hope the devs can really make a mark with this one. Up next, we have Crimson Desert. We have seen a ton from this game already, and it has suffered from a couple of delays, but to me, the game is shaping up to be a huge time sink that I'll be enjoying quite a bit. Coming from the devs of Black Desert Online, Crimson Desert looks flashy, combat looks action-packed with dodge and parry systems, along with boss fights that seem to be very challenging. Add in a large open world, and you got a recipe for something that can be really good. I know many people are skeptical about this one, but I feel like it's too big to fail. I love fantasy action adventure games, and this looks to be right up my alley. I just really hope it's going to be good. Up next, we have 007 First Light. This one is coming from the Hitman devs, and you can definitely see the influence, but from the State of Play deep dive, it looks like it'll be a really fun playthrough. If I do have to compare it to a game, to me, it resembles the Uncharted series the most, with the large set pieces and chaotic action taking place in just about every scene. I love the Uncharted series, so a 007 remix of it sounds perfect. There is some skepticism surrounding it due to its performance issues shown in the gameplay deep dive, but there's plenty of time to address that between now and the release date. Up next, we have Beasts of Reincarnation. This is the first game coming from Game Freak that isn't a Pokemon game in quite some time. It looks like another action RPG, but with more linear level design rather than an open world approach. Regardless, the combat looks to be a high point, the same high octane dodge and counter based flow that we've seen time and time again. We haven't seen much more of this game since the reveal trailer, so it'll be interesting how it shapes up, but I got this one on my list to look forward to. Up next, we have Blood of the Dawnwalker. This game is coming from the director of Witcher 3 and producer of Cyberpunk 2077. Rebel Wolves is a new studio heading up the development of this game, and from what we've seen so far, it captures the essence of what made those games so good. Very story-driven with a ton of morale choices and offering up an immersive sim style to gameplay, allowing you to complete missions in different ways. I really do like what the game has shown off so far, and the industry is in desperate need of a really good vampire game because it has definitely been some time. Up next, we have Exodus. This is a new sci-fi RPG from the team at Archetype Entertainment, a studio formed by former BioWare veterans who worked on the Mass Effect trilogy. And from what we've seen, Exodus is trying to capture that same classic space opera feel with different meaningful choices and consequences that can span across multiple playthroughs. The first cinematic trailer was revealed over 2 years ago at this point, and they most recently dropped a gameplay trailer nearly a year ago. I'll admit some of it does look a bit janky, but I'm still really looking forward to what this game has to offer. The Mass Effect series has always been one of my favorites, and I'm hoping this thing can capture that same feeling. Up next, we have Onimusha Way of the Sword. The Onimusha series has been dormant for far too long, and seeing Capcom bring it back is pretty exciting. The original games were some of the best action games on the PS2, and this new entry looks to modernize the formula while keeping those same core elements that made the series so great. The swordplay looks incredibly smooth and satisfying with the focus on precise timing and counters, and from what we've seen, the game is taking on a darker tone with the feudal Japan setting mixed in with some demonic elements. Capcom has been on a roll lately with the revivals and remakes, so I have good faith that they'll do right by this franchise as well. Up next, we have Replaced. This one caught my attention purely based on the art style. It's a 2.5D sci-fi action platformer with this beautiful pixelated aesthetic that just looks amazing. It's worth mentioning that the first time we even saw this game was over 3 years ago at this point, back at the Game Awards in 2022, so they've definitely been cooking for a while. The game is set in an alternate 1980s America, and you play as an AI trapped in a human body trying to figure out what happened. The combat looks fluid, platforming seems tight. What really sells it for me is the atmosphere. It has this whole cyberpunk noir vibe that not many games have ever pulled off. We haven't seen a ton of gameplay yet, but what's been shown has been enough to get me interested. I really hope this game hits a home run. Up next, we have Pragmata. This is by far one of the most unique and random looking games I've ever seen. It's a third person action adventure game that looks like it takes place in a space station to start. Whether or not it expands from that remains to be seen, but it also looks to be offering up some unique gameplay based on the small snippet we've seen so far. I expect to see a lot more of this game leading up to its release, but so far its premise looks interesting enough to make my personal list. Up next, we have Witchfire. This is a dark fantasy FPS roguelike. The game is already in early access, so you can buy it today if you're willing to. You already know my stance on that, but from what I've heard, it's been shaping up pretty nicely with a nice stream of updates as well. The gunplay obviously looks very satisfying, and I'm sure it is, and the dark fantasy setting gives it a nice, unique flavor. I'm still waiting on the full release of this one to dive in, and once it does, you better believe I'll be on it for quite some time. Up next, we have Phantom Blade Zero, another new entry to the Souls-like genre. This particular game looks like it's shaping up to be one of the best. I believe this one is coming exclusively to PlayStation 5. It has the satisfying combat, some unique boss designs, beautiful graphics, and looks to have also some really nice level design. I'd be interested to see how much build variety this game has to offer and just how much it shakes up the existing Souls-like formula that we've come to know very well. Up next, we have Nioh 3, which is kind of interesting that it's coming right after Phantom Blade Zero, two games that kind of look like they're playing similar games here. I love the Nioh series, and honestly, it's the second best in the Souls-like genre, in my opinion. Of course, some people will say Lies of P, but I don't know. Nioh just has this insane build customization. It's just perfect for someone like me who likes to tinker around. The boss designs are great, the combat is second to none, and there's already been a demo released for Nioh 3, and as expected, it's more Nioh. So whether that's a good thing or not, it's completely based on the type of player you are. Personally, I cannot wait and plan to sink many hours into this one. Up next, we have Resident Evil Requiem. Capcom has been absolutely killing it with the Resident Evil franchise as of late, and after the success of the remakes and of Village, expectations are high for whatever comes next. Requiem looks to be continuing the storyline while introducing new gameplay mechanics. The series has done a great job so far balancing horror and action, and from what we've seen so far, it looks like they're leaning more into the survival horror roots. The atmosphere just looks amazing, and Capcom knows what they're doing with the franchise at this point, so I have zero doubt that this game will deliver. Up next, we have Titan Quest 2. The ARPG fans have been eating really good lately. Path of Exile 2 is dropping a new league. Last Epoch looks to be a solid alternative, although it has been dealing with its own controversy as of late. And Diablo 4 is attempting to rework their whole game in Season 11. I've always loved the Titan Quest series. I love the setting of it, and when this sequel was announced, I was more than happy to see what they were going with. The game, of course, is already available in early access, but again, I'm sticking to my personal rule, so I'll be waiting for the full release, and this one cannot come soon enough. Up next, we have Saros. Returnal was an amazing game that had a lasting impact on me. The vibe of the game was so unique and so different that I couldn't put the game down even after completing it more than a few times. Saros looks to be doing much of the same, and I'm very excited to see how the gameplay evolves. The one letdown for me for Returnal was the lackluster build variety. Being a roguelike, I expected to see more modifiers and options to choose from, but was pretty disappointed with what the game had to offer. Despite that, I still thought it was a really good game. I'm hoping this has been fixed in Saros and that we're able to be as creative as we want. Regardless though, this game is shaping up to be one of my personal favorites of 2026. We're down to our top 3 here. Up next, we have Slay the Spire 2. I can't even begin to explain how many hours I put into the first one. I bought it on PC, I bought it on my Nintendo Switch, and I have it on PS4 and PS5. To put it simply, I am addicted to the game. I'm scared of Slay the Spire 2 for similar reasons. I know the kind of hold this game might have on me. There have been many games that have since followed in the footsteps of the roguelike builder genre, but even to this day, there hasn't been one that has topped Slay the Spire for me. With that being said, I can't help but be extremely excited for Slay the Spire 2. One of the top 3 games that I'm excited for. Up next, we have Marvel's Wolverine. Insomniac has proven time and time again that they know how to make great superhero games. After the success of both Spider-Man titles, expectations for Wolverine are obviously through the roof. From what we've seen, the game looks brutal and mature, which is exactly what you want to see from a Wolverine game. The combat needs to be visceral, and from what we've gotten, it looks like they're nailing that aspect. Insomniac's attention to detail and ability to make you feel like the character you're playing should translate perfectly to Logan as well. well. This is easily one of my most anticipated games, and I can't wait to finally get my hands on it. Up next, and last but not least, as you might expect, this is obviously very mainstream, but we have Grand Theft Auto 6. There's not much to say that hasn't already been said. Rockstar has set the bar incredibly high with their previous titles, and GTA 6 looks to be their most ambitious project yet. The dual protagonist system and what looks like to be a massive open world has had pretty much everyone hyped beyond belief. Rockstar takes their time with releases, but the end result is almost always worth the wait. The level of detail they put into their world is unmatched, and I have no doubt that GTA 6 will set a new standard for open world games that many people will try to replicate but fail to do so. This is without question one of the biggest releases, not just for 2026, but of this generation. I cannot wait for Grand Theft Auto 6, and I just hope that they manage to pull it off. And you know what? I know they will. So that wraps up my list for my most anticipated games in 2026. Don't forget to drop yours in the comments below. And if you guys enjoyed the video, maybe consider subscribing. I'll see you all in the next one.